All right. What we're going to be doing is making a roux today. Roux is what? Equal parts what and what?
Fat and flour.
Fat and flour. Yep. And in this case, our fat's going to be butter. Based on our recipe, we need how many ounces of butter? 4 ounces. Right. Good. This is a 16-ounce block, so we should be a quarter of that. Right. So we'll see how close we can get off that there. And what do we have there?
Oh, yeah.
The 4.
Yeah. Sounds like literally perfect.
Sometimes things just work out. All right, so we're going to melt our butter. Okay. When you're melting it, you don't want it the temperature real high because we're not trying to brown our butter. We're just melting it. Okay. You'll have a little better control with the gas ovens over there than I have with this, but we're going to make it work. So we just want to make sure we melt it down with a low temperature, low flame. And then we need 4 ounces of flour to go along with that. Where am I? Tell me when to stop.
You need just a little bit more.
Oh,
Okay.
too
You're
much?
good. You're good. You're
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. We have our equal parts fat and flour. So we have our flour here. This is probably enough for everybody to measure out the 4 ounces of flour. So rather than going to the bin and getting flour all over the floor and having to clean it up, let's just go ahead and use this and our scale and cup. And as far as butter, we can use the rest of this one plus whatever else you know. There's plenty more butter in the refrigerator. Okay, so we're just going to let that melt down a little bit. You want it to be completely melted before you add your flour.
Did you have a question?
Okay.
Why does it have to be completely melted before you add the flour?
Well, because what will happen if some of that flour starts to cook in the fat that's already melted and hot, then it's going to cook quicker than the rest, and you might get, like if you're looking for a white roux, by the time the rest of that butter melts, some of that flour might be cooked to like a blonde or a brown roux. So you want everything to kind of cook evenly, but it's a great question. Thank you, Carly, for the good question for the sake of the video.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we're pretty close there. Can you see that through there or not? Just try to get a picture of it at some point. All right, so it's melted, and we're going to add our flour, okay? You don't have to add it all at once. I'd add like about half of it and then kind of stir it in. All right, so what we're looking for is like a wet sand texture. All right. And for a veloute, we're looking for a white roux, correct? Okay, so we're basically just getting this put together, making sure that everything's all hot and combined, and that's the roux. If we were looking for a blonde roux, we would kind of keep cooking it for a while until you smell like almost like roasted peanuts. Smell. Because what happens is the milk solids in the butter sort of toast a little bit. You get that nice smell. So that's what we would do. So if you're making, or is it a blonde roux for the veloute? I think it's a white roux for the bechamel and a blonde roux for the veloute. So we are looking for a blonde roux here. So we are going to let it cook a little bit until we kind of smell those notes of like roasted peanuts, and you can get a good look at it at the look of that. So it looks like wet paste sand, sort of like a sandy sheet. Good. So we're going to let that cook a little bit, and until we sort of smell that. You want to move it around pretty regularly because you don't want, you know, the base of that flour mixture, butter flour mixture, to sit there on the bottom and get toasted, but then the top not, right? So you want a nice even cooking of the paste. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cook this for a couple minutes on like medium low. For you guys, I'd say low, because we don't, you get too far and you brown it, you notice that it's starting to brown at any point or even coming close to it, just take it off of the stove, take it off the flame, allow it to cool off a little bit, and then just bring it up to temperature real lightly. You want to do this softly because you do not want a brown roux, right? Because that's going to add color to whatever we make. In this case, we're making a velouté, which we want to be a nice light color. It's tough to smell through a shield, so, but I can actually kind of start to smell that. So we're going to pull that off there now like that. So this is cooked. Basically your roux is done. Now if we were going to go right into making that velouté, this is the part where we would add our stock. You know, gradually add some, allow it to sort of thicken up, add a little more until we've used up all the liquid. But we're just making the roux today. So you get it to this point, allow it to cool off a little bit until it's cool enough to put into one of the little containers, and then we're going to refrigerate those, and we'll use them for on Tuesday for our velouté.